today to speak for the women in the Christmas story. Yes, you heard me correctly, the women in the Christmas story. What if women had told the Christmas story? What women, you ask? If I gave you a minute just to sit and think about who are the women in the Christmas story, I can tell you right now who many of you would come up with. Mary and Mary. Actually, if I gave you the next hour to think about the women in the Christmas story, some of you might still come up with Mary. And she is indeed the heart and the soul of the story. One amazing young woman. But Mary's going to speak for herself next week, which means I don't have anything to say, right? Well, the shepherds were men. The innkeeper was a man. The donkey seller, another man. Herod, a bad male king. The wise men, right? Well, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. Those wise men were not necessarily all men. Surprised, aren't you? 3 kings, wise men, sounds pretty definitive. But actually all the Bible tells us is that there were wise people from the East and that they came with 3 fabulous gifts. So everyone's just assumed that ever since there were 3 gifts, 3 dignitaries, 3 astronomers, 3 philosophers, hey, they had to be men. And while it's often presented as fact as the 3 wise men are men, they could have just as easily been women. Matthew's gospel does not give a gender to the 3 wise figures. And in recent years, scholars such as Benedict Viviano has claimed it is entirely possible that some of them might have been women. Imagine retelling the Christmas story. 3 wise women on camels coming to see another woman giving birth. If they too were mothers or they knew mothers, imagine the questions that they would ask and the care that they would have given. Viviano points out that the gospel writer Matthew, the only book that actually mentions the Magi, does not give them a gender. Magi is Greek, and while the term is masculine, it can apparently also be used to include women, much like the word we use mankind or humanity today, including both men and women. And according to Viviano, the main reason to think of the presence of 1 or more women amongst the Magi is the background story of the Queen of Sheba, with her quest for Israelite traditional wisdom, her reverent awe, and the 3 gifts which she gives in 1 Kings chapter 1, chapter 10, gifts that she gives fit for a king. Think about that. The Queen of Sheba brought King Solomon the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Sound familiar? In 2004, the General Synod of the UK Church of England decided to reject a suggestion that the word magi should really be replaced with 3 wise men because they could not rule out the possibility that there were women. I have to think and wonder if 3 wise women had come, I think they would have asked for directions. I think they would have arrived on time. I think they would have brought very practical gifts. Probably less myrrh and frankincense, but perhaps more body cream, cabbage leaves, cotton wraps for the baby, and myriad of snacks and many other things. Just something to think about this morning. If women had told the Christmas story, the Magi came from the East. Wouldn't be surprised at all if one or more had been women. Think about that this week.